Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to build the ultimate blueprint for something that can literally make or break any project you touch: quality. We're going to pull back the curtain on project quality management and give you a super clear, actionable framework to make sure your work doesn't just get done, but it gets done right. But let's start with a really simple question that gets right to the heart of all this. What's the true cost of a mistake? I mean, really think about it. It's not just the money or the time to fix it, is it? It's the trust you lose, it's the hit to your reputation, it's all those missed opportunities. The stakes here are, well, they're incredibly high. And that brings us to this idea called the cost of quality, which honestly is all about a choice you have to make. On one hand, you've got the cost of conformance. That's the good stuff. That's investing upfront in things like training and testing to get it right the first time. On the other hand, you have the cost of nonconformance. That's the reactive price you pay when things go wrong. We're talking rework, scrap, and even worse, warranties and lost customers. You see, you're gonna pay for quality one way or another. The only real question is, do you want to invest in success or do you want to pay for failure? Okay, so before we can start building our blueprint, we have to make sure we're all speaking the same language. Let's just quickly nail down a few core concepts that everything else is built on. First up, quality itself. Now, this isn't about being fancy or luxurious. The official definition is super specific. It's all about fulfilling requirements. That's the magic word. If your project does exactly what you said it would do, it's high quality. Doesn't matter if it's simple or complex. And this is where it gets really interesting, because quality is not the same thing as grade. Grade is all about the features, the bells and whistles. Think of a basic no-frills car versus the top-of-the-line luxury model. They both get you from point A to point B, but they have a totally different set of features, so a different grade. And here's how this plays out in the real world. A low-grade, super basic phone can absolutely be high quality if it makes calls reliably. It's meeting its core requirement. But a high-grade, crazy expensive smartphone is low quality if the battery overheats, right? It's failing a fundamental requirement. So here's the bottom line, and this is so important. Low grade can be perfectly fine, but low quality is never acceptable. This all leads us to the modern way of thinking about quality. It's not about having an army of inspectors at the end of the production line trying to catch mistakes. No way. It's all about prevention. The entire system, the whole philosophy, is built on one simple truth. It is always cheaper to prevent a problem from ever happening than it is to fix it later. So how do we actually do that? How do we put this prevention-first idea into practice? Well, we use this simple but incredibly powerful three-step blueprint. This is the absolute core of project quality management: plan, manage, and control. Here's how it breaks down. Step 1 is plan quality. That's where you define what good actually looks like and figure out how you're going to measure it. Step 2 is manage quality. This is where you execute that plan, but your focus is on the processes. And finally, step 3 is control quality. This is where you check the actual product to see if it meets the standard. Just think of it like this: plan, process, product. Simple as that. All right, now let's zoom in on what I think is the most important part of this whole blueprint, and honestly, it's the part people get confused about the most. It's the difference between managing quality and controlling quality. If you can get this, it's a total game changer. So let's start with manage quality. This one is all about the process. It's about asking questions like, are our systems working correctly? Is our workflow making sense? Are we actually following the plan we created? It's all about making sure the way we're building the thing is solid, which is how you prevent defects from ever showing up. And the tools you use here are all about investigation and improvement. You've got things like audits, just to check if you're sticking to the plan, and you have these deep dive tools like cause and effect diagrams that help you find the real root cause of a problem in your system. You see the theme, right? It's all proactive, process-focused work. Okay, now let's flip the coin and talk about control quality. This is not about the process. This is all about the product, the actual thing you can hold in your hand, the deliverable. Here, we're just inspecting the final output to see if it measures up to the standards we set way back in our plan. It's like the final exam. And as you'd expect, the tools for this are all about measurement and detection. You're doing hands-on inspections, you're using checklists to be consistent, and maybe you're using statistical sampling so you don't have to check every single item. The whole point is to gather data on that final product using tools like control charts to see if the results are stable and inside the limits we agreed on. Let me give you a really cool, concrete example of this. The rule of 7 from control charts. So imagine you're tracking results and everything looks fine. All your measurements are within the acceptable limits. But then you notice something. You get 7 data points in a row, all above the average line. Even if they're not defects, that's a huge red flag. It tells you your process isn't random anymore. Something has changed, and you need to go investigate right now. You know, the absolute easiest way to remember the difference is to think about baking a cake. Managing quality is like reviewing the recipe, making sure your steps are sound before you even start mixing. That's prevention. Controlling quality is tasting the finished cake to make sure it's delicious. That's detection. And you need both, right? You need a great recipe, and you need that final taste test. Okay, we've got the theory down, so let's bring it all home and turn this into action. So here it is, your blueprint for brilliance. Number 1, always remember, quality is a choice. You can either invest in prevention now, or you're going to pay for failure later. Number 2, speak the language. Quality means meeting requirements. It's not the same as grade, which is just about having features. And finally, number 3, use the 3-step plan. Plan your approach, manage your process, and control your product. We've laid out the entire blueprint for you. So the last question really is for you. Now that you have it, where in your own work, on your own projects, could a better focus on quality, on the planning, on the process, and on the final product make the biggest possible difference? Thanks so much for watching The Explainer.